We are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Kirk Williams with College Access Group, and we are excited to be here today. This is day 2 of the Access College and Career Fair virtual experience. Thank you for all of you guys, parents, students, educators, staff that have joined us on our website. Collegeaccessgroup.net is where you would actually find the fair. We have 20, 30 plus college and career professionals that are there on the fair waiting to talk to you. But today, right now, on the main stage is what we call it. We are live with Mr. Jack Friedman of Study Smart Tutors. Did I say last name correctly, Jack?
You did, yep.
I did, great. Jack has created this phenomenal company, and I wanted to bring him on and just, first of all, say hello to him, and then just talk a little bit about what he's got going on, how he started, and just, all the different great things that, Study Smart can do for you all that's out there watching this. And really just want to say thank you, Jack, for being here. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, my pleasure, man. We were just talking offline a little bit just about, the pandemic and, how it forced us all to pivot and change. And Jack was just telling me that that's what's going on, right, Jack? You guys have that something going on with my son is calling me. Sorry about that.
No.
But the pandemic changed the way that we did things, right? How did it work for you guys?
Absolutely. The pandemic, for us, we were providing 90% of our work was in-person instruction to students and families prior to the pandemic hitting, and working with primarily high school students, preparing them for the SAT, doing math tutoring, college prep workshops. And when 100% of the schools closed, 100% of those workshops also got canceled. And, the student need didn't change at all, right? These students still needed these supports. And in many cases, they needed more support. Mm-hmm. But the format had to change. The access had to change, technology. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of the schools were unprepared for what they were going to have to deal with. We saw a huge opportunity gap between students who had access to certain resources and others who didn't. And I think the pandemic, not that those didn't exist before the pandemic, but I think the pandemic only made that more challenging.
I 100% agree with you on that. We had our same type of thing. Most of our, especially with the Access College Fair, it was all in person. And we had to change drastically, very fast, and make adjustments. And we still are in the same process of making those changes. But what I found out, and like what you just alluded to and what you just said, schools weren't prepared, and they really shouldn't have been, right? Because they weren't thinking about this, and no one was thinking that this was going to happen and drastically change the way that we do school. I mean,
absolutely,
it's crazy what happened.
And really, until this pandemic happened, the model of school in the United States had pretty much looked the same for the last 100 years, right? I mean, my grandparents went to high school. They sat in a room with 30 desks that faced the front. And that used to be a chalkboard, and now it's a whiteboard. And maybe the rooms have some computers or whatnot. But the style of instruction, from 1920 to 2019, in many schools didn't change that much. And then this pandemic happens, and it has to change a lot, and it has to change immediately.
So fast, immediately, and we just weren't prepared. No one was prepared, and we're still trying to figure it out. And again, even the platform that we're talking on right now, for me, did not exist. I didn't think about it, had no clue. I talked to somebody about doing a virtual fair maybe 2 years ago, and I just couldn't, fathom, why would I do a virtual fair? We want people to come, and we want to engage. And I love the energy. You can see behind me, my sign says the most unique, innovative, and energetic, fair in the country. That's what we tried to build. And it's kind of crazy that, it all shut down, and we had to change. And schools are still trying to do those changes right now. So I want to ask you a little bit, though, about how you got started with this, because if I read it correctly, it says you started this particular company, Study Smart Tutors, in college. Is that true?
Yep. And I wish I could say I had a great plan to start a business and all those things, but I definitely did not have a plan. I was going to school at USC here in Los Angeles, very expensive university, was looking for a way to make some money as a college student was the initial, that was the initial vision. And started doing some SAT and ACT tutoring worked for a few companies doing that, realized I enjoyed the work with the students, went out on my own to try to sell ACT and SAT prep to wealthy communities in Los Angeles, but realized there was a lot of that already. And the wealthy students and the wealthy high schools, they didn't really have a need for another someone like me coming in, because there were 100 other people that already did it. And I was really fortunate that right next to my college apartment was a college access program sponsored by the university that provided students with tutoring, with test preparation, with advising services in the local community. And it was all free. And the best part of the program was that if the students got into USC at the end, they got to go for free. So they didn't get any special admissions, but they did get a scholarship if they could get in. And I thought, oh, I wonder if these students need SAT prep. And I happened to meet with the program director. I mean, I literally walked in the door cold one day in between classes. And I asked her, and I said, what are you all doing and whatnot? And she said, we have a huge need. The SAT is what's keeping our students out of getting this scholarship. Wow. And so she said, do you have anything? And I said, oh, well, I got this great boot camp focusing on foundation skill building and SAT strategies. Now, I didn't really have that boot camp at the time, but I figured I could make it. And she said, okay, great. And so we taught the class and saw that it was successful. And then she educated me about a lot of the different college access programs that existed both in Los Angeles and around the country. And so the initial plan, and we discovered very quickly the market for TRIO and Gear Up programs, serving low-income first-gen students with these same challenges around the SAT and ACT. That was the initial focus, was we were going to just do that. And then obviously quickly realized when working with students that there were a lot more supports we could provide. It wasn't just SAT and ACT prep that they needed. We could provide math tutoring. We could provide college essay workshops. We could provide programming for families. And we've been successful over the last 10 years because of the amount of different products and services that we've been able to roll out to this population of first generation and low income students and the communities that they're in. And that's been the really silver lining of COVID as well. Not to give you a super long answer, but COVID has created a lot more needs and brought new needs to light and allowed us to innovate in some really cool and unique ways that maybe things we wanted to do, but we're on the back burner. And then COVID forces all of us, everybody in any business has been forced to innovate during this period. But it's allowed for some really cool new things that we've been able to do. So we're pretty excited about it.
That's phenomenal, man. Thank you very much for sharing that information and letting everybody know that, you said a couple of things in there that I want to touch on just briefly. First and foremost, you walked into a program director's office cold.
Yes, I did.
Just walked in there and say, hey,
yep.
I'm Jack, and what needs do you have? And I can fulfill those needs. I can help you. But you had to create that. So you sold it before you made it, right? Yep.
And I wish I could say that was the last time that ever happened, but it definitely wasn't. There were definitely many times over the years where a customer came to us with a need, and we said, we don't have that today, but give us a month, give us a year, give us 3 months. We're going to have something for you. And I think that's the really fun part of our job, is to get to talk to our partners about what their needs are and to build products and services around that. That's the most fun part, I think, for any entrepreneur in any business is kind of finding those solutions.
That's great, man. And it also gives us hope that we can do the same thing and get to the same point that you're at. Some of us just don't know, but we have relationships. We might be able to, go and have a conversation, have a cup of coffee with somebody, and they tell you what they need or what they're looking for. And sometimes we take a step back saying, well, I don't do that right now. I don't know. You're saying, hey, I can do it. I might need some time to do it, but I can help you with that.
Yeah, I think, one thing I always tell young entrepreneurs and working with a lot of them in a lot of different ways is finding those pains in your community. What are the pain points that the people you talk to every day have? And those pain points can be really big or they can be really small, right? The pain points can be, there's no place to get my makeup done for prom in the community, right? That can be a pain point. And guess what? If you know how to do makeup, that could be a great business for you, right, in your community. And I think when you can find these intersections between your skills and your expertise and these pain points, whether that's in your daily life, in the world, in your community, however you look at it, there's lots of different business opportunities that I think people will start to see.
Oh, that's very true. And I love the one that you touched on and that you guys are doing right now. And that's working with students that may not have been able to afford the types of services that you have, that you provide, that college access programming. A lot of students can't afford that. So that's kind of where you have created your niche, right? That's where you guys are. That's the space that you're in. And it's
Absolutely.
to be
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, that's great. And for all of you guys that know me, you know that I've worked with college access group or college access programs for a number of years, especially with the Europe program. I've done that for 15, 16 years. And met Jack and his team I think we met at a Gear Up conference.
Yep.
I don't know if it was Washington or San Francisco, one of the two.
Yeah.
We only have two of them, right?
Yep.
But I noticed what you guys are doing, and I really, appreciate it. And we tried to do some things together, and we're still, communicating right now. So, but I appreciate you guys, what you do and what you bring to the table, and that you're in it, and that right now COVID has, had you change your model, but it looks like you guys are doing well. You're pushing forward and getting some, going forward. I love that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you don't have a choice. We talked with our staff when all of our schools closed, and you kind of have two choices, right? You can say, well, we can try to wait this out and hope things get back to normal, but they may never get back to normal. Or you can say, we're going to adapt and we're going to start tomorrow and we're going to shift our entire business to fit this new normal. And maybe it will succeed and maybe it will fail. But to me and to our team, and a credit to our team, is, no one on the team said, let's wait and see. That was not an option for the team that we have. And everybody on our team said, if I need to learn something new, I'm going to learn it. If I need to figure out how to figure out an online platform to do X, Y, or Z, I'll figure it out. If I need to learn to do all kinds of things, I mean, we've been able to do all kinds of stuff that we had no idea we could learn. And that's, I think a credit to our team. And I think, I think you as well can speak to that same kind of attitude.
Absolutely. So I wanted to touch on one thing real quick, because since you talked about doing the SAT and ACT and all those things, what's your take on the essay, or on California saying no more SAT, no more testing? How does that, what's your take on it? And then how does that affect what you guys do, or what other college access, support programs would have to do now? Yeah.
I think it's a really nuanced question and a challenging one.
Yeah.
I think number one, we always believed that the SAT was an indicator of family income more than it was an indicator of students' preparedness for college. We never believed the SAT was an equitable test. We never felt that low-income first-gen students' scores reflected their ability to be successful in college, and that the SAT was definitely a biased test. That said, I think our concerns are, with the amount of changing information that's out there right now. Things are getting updated weekly almost, with who's taking the SAT, who's going test optional, who's going test blind. That high-income students are still taking the SAT and thinking, well, maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't, or maybe it will help me qualify for a scholarship. And
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of the messaging that low-income and first-gen students are getting is, oh, the SAT doesn't matter anymore. The SAT doesn't matter for you anymore. And I worry that if we give our students that messaging and they don't end up taking these tests, that they're going to end up being hurt by either future policy changes, or there's going to be scholarships out there they're not going to be able to qualify for. There's going to be private schools out there that would have looked at their SAT scores and now won't see them, especially in competitive majors at a lot of these institutions. If you're applying as an engineering major at most of these schools, even if they're test optional, if you have an SAT math score, that's going to certainly help your admission, right? And if you and I are both competing for the same spot and you have a math score to show them and I don't, you're certainly going to be at an advantage. And so for that reason, for the reason of options, we are still pushing our students to prepare for and take these exams especially in a scenario where, worst case, you got too good at math or you got too good at reading, right? Yeah. That's unlikely to be a problem for you, right? We see, math is math and reading is reading. And if you have these skills, you're going to benefit whether the test matters or not. So it's definitely a challenging situation. And I, we've gotten a lot of calls from different partners and schools, and opinions are kind of all over the map. And like I said, things are changing. So if you ask me this question again in a week, I reserve the right to have a different answer.
Well, I just might ask you in a week.
Yep.
But I do agree with you, and I'm glad that you guys are doing that. The narrative, though, is so loud, it seems like, that the SAT doesn't matter and don't do it, or it just seems to be so loud out there that I'm glad that you guys are being able to talk with your partners, and hopefully they're able to talk with their students and their participants and say, you know what, it might be test optional, but it's not optional for you. We still want you to do it, and here's the reasons why. And I hope you guys are continue to do that, and more programs do that the same way. So thank you very much for sharing that information. And then tell us a little bit more about Study Smart Tutors, and the different services that you had to shift. And now what are you guys up to right now?
Yes, definitely. The biggest shift was moving all of our classes online. That was the first big shift, is teaching virtually. The first thing was we took our existing content and made it accessible digitally. The second piece was we built a lot of new content that we've only been teaching digitally. We've been excited that we've been able to train a lot of school staff, teachers, counselors, advisors on how to work virtually. I mean, we built a lot of training for our own internal staff and ended up being able to sell that, because a lot of schools, a lot of programs, a lot of TRIO programs, college access organizations said, we don't know how to work with our students virtually. We don't have a plan for virtual engagement. We don't have a plan for these things. And so we've been able to work with a lot of different partners on those components, which has been really fun and something we haven't been able to do. And then for us too, the geography piece, we were primarily California, Arizona, Nevada. That's where our staff was located, and that's where we mostly did work. Since COVID, we've been able to work everywhere from Guam to Rhode Island and everywhere in between. And so that's been really fun for us to get to engage with students and teachers and TRIO programs and Gear Up folks in all parts of the country and in different types of communities, urban and rural, and just seeing the diversity of some of these programs has really been really fun for our staff to get to do. And then the last thing that we've done that's been really fun is our media. We've been able to help a lot of our programs actually launch. We've launched a podcast with LA Unified. We helped them launch a podcast.
Really?
It's called My First Year, and it's a collection of students' first year stories from their first year in college, their first year as a STEM major. So that's been really fun. And we've also done a lot of video work for family engagement programming for a lot of different programs, and that's been fun as well.
Very cool, man. That is amazing. I'm really happy for you, first and foremost, man, and that you guys are still doing your thing, and you've and I'm just really truly happy that you guys are doing what you're doing, and you specifically, you personally, because we had a relationship. We talked, we sat down, had a drink. We really got together, and I'm really happy for you, man. So congratulations for doing well, and to do what you're doing for sure.
Kirk, thank you very much. It's great to see you. I appreciate you having me on. I think this is a perfect example of something we could have done pre-COVID, but we didn't, right? Because we didn't think that it was necessary. And now, because of COVID, we're doing some stuff that we wanted to do. Like you had said, we had talked about doing a virtual college fair 2 years ago, and here you are, we're doing it. So we're grateful to participate.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody for watching and for being a part of this. And we really appreciate you all coming on. Again, Jack, thank you very much. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more offline. But for everybody that's joining us on X, make sure you guys go and check out Study Smart Tutors. You know what? I didn't even give them your websites, or how do we get?
Yep, you can find us at studysmarttutors.com. And you can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on LinkedIn. So you're happy to hit us up online. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so that's the right studysmarttutors.com.
Yep.
Everybody go and check out what they have going on. Great company, great founder, and everything, love that. And then also, I want you guys, make sure you go to the Access College and Career Fair. Check it out. We still are going on. We have 20, 30 plus colleges that are there. Recruiters are waiting to talk to you, engage with you. Make sure you go there. It's collegeaccessgroup.net/ACCF virtual. That's right. I'm going to put this in here real quick so you have it. collegeaccessgroup.net/ACCF virtual. Make sure I got that right. Did I spell it right? I think I spelled it right. I think I'm all good. I did not spell it right. Trying to go fast, but you guys get the idea. collegeaccessgroup.net/ACCF virtual, and go and check out everybody that's on there. We have sessions 1 going on right now. Session 2 will be October 6th through the 8th. And then session 3 will be November 17th through the 19th. Go and participate with us. It's all free. It doesn't cost anything. So we do the same thing that Jack and his group does. We don't charge students, parents, and we don't charge you guys, because we want you to have access to all information to make a better choice, to make some good decisions for your success journey in life. So with that said, peace out. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next time on the main stage. Have a great day.